On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Cary Lake, watch the water. Just saying. There's some major stuff going on in Arizona. You're going to want to stick around for that. Also, we got some RFK Jr. already starting to get going on letting us know some of the nasties in our food. I got to share this with you guys. It's a big deal to me. Nutrition, health, actually taught me some stuff I didn't even know specifically. So beautiful piece that we're going to be covering there. And we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to where we're at in this country. Donald Trump's safety. A lot of rumors flying right now about his potential safety. We're going to keep him in a bubble, of course. Keep him surrounded in the Christ white light, as always. And I'm also going to say again, the work we did, and I'm assuming there's other people, but the work that we did, I think that live show we did is starting to play out the way I expected. This was the type of stuff that I really was heavily focused on hoping that we would nail down, and I think we're starting to. And Arizona's running into a problem. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to get into it, of course, and I've got a live music show coming up here. We're doing inspired by Thompson Twins, but yes, very heavily 80-esque show. We'll see how it plays out. Oh yeah, I hope I don't have things spun up too fast.
If you see me, keep walking. Do not make eye contact. Do not square up at me. Don't act like you know.
All right, here we go. A little bit of moment of specialness, we'll call it. But get ready for the golden age, folks. We are truly heading into the golden age. What I think a lot of people are not getting right now, even my audience, I think even, not I don't know. I don't want to try to guess how many of you, but I think there's a lot of people out there right now that are like, whew, we won the election. Sitting back down. And here's the thing. We're not. First off, I think everything leading up to the transition of power, whether peaceful or not, is going to be interesting. I've got some stuff going on in the world right now that we should be seriously talking about, which we're going to. I'll probably still crack jokes, though. Can't help it. Golden age is coming, folks. This will be the greatest time on this planet. We're heading into something beautiful, something that won't make sense if you say it right now. But here's something that makes sense. All of us understand.
You gotta see me that one.
My girl just lost a day ago. Like, damn.
Yeah, I don't think, doesn't seem like Kamala is going to be sticking around, does it? No. Alex Soros put this out. Interesting post, actually. Before you beat yourself up about the election, please read this. The incumbents in every single one of the 10 major countries, G7 plus, that have been tracked by a Powell government global research project and held national elections in 2024 were given a kicking by their voters. This is the first time this has ever happened in almost 120 years on record. This is what we did. It's been 120 years since this much of the world's turned. This is what we did. You in other countries. You here in the United States. And Canadians. You guys are kind of both, I think. And Mexico. We should be. We should be, frankly. It'd be neat to see that. But this is a powerful place. Like, see, if Mexico's southern border suddenly just didn't become so porous, us in Mexico could be very cool because, you know, the cartels wouldn't run it. And I'm just saying there is a much better world, I can imagine, than what we're currently living in and what's about to change. So, yeah, Alex Soros is calling out the problem. It's the first time in 120 years we've kicked the establishment to the curb this hard. I don't even know what happened 120 years ago, but it must have sucked for them. I'm sure some of you historians are like, oh, Dan, yeah, I'm sure something cool happened. Don't get me wrong. What, early 1900s? What the shit? Anyway, Trump, first candidate in 40 years to sweep key 2024 swing states. First candidate ever to do that. Well, in 40 years. Reagan's the big one they keep talking about. Like, what did he won? Like 49 of the states. How cool is that? I don't remember it really because I was young, but I was alive. I mean, I was conscious. I remember Reagan. Remember his, well, Nancy, like yeah, forever. And then the Genesis song Land of Confusion, where they did that video with the Reagan at the beginning. Dude, I was all in. I was all in on the Reagan train. All said, excuse me. We have a severe issue going on. Here we go. Donald Trump again, the map. He's even posting it out. This is proud. It's funny. Someone posted something, so I'm going to give you guys points. Oklahoma. I got friends in Oklahoma. It's where my good friend Clay Clark lives. He's out there, right? And friends tied to him, if you will. Aaron, for sure, is definitely one of those guys. But it's funny is Oklahoma, 100% red. 100% went red. That's what, they don't talk like that in Oklahoma. They sound normal, more normal. That's more Texas that talks like that. Give me taco. Shut up, Dan. That is what happened in Oklahoma. So they are the one perfect state, they're saying. And I just want to give the call out to the 14 people that are from, I'm kidding, there's probably 40 of you from Oklahoma. But yeah, there you go. Beautiful. You guys won 100% red wave. It's splashed out of Oklahoma because of Clay Clark. Probably, by the way. I mean, all the crap we did, think about what Clay did. He affected so many people, so it wouldn't surprise me if that splash out of Oklahoma was probably directly tied to my good friend Clay Clark. I don't know why I'm really impressed with the levels of effort that we all put in and what we actually accomplished. And some people's, legal pains. Here's the deep state kind of not melting down. That guy don't like the melting down videos as much, but this is this guy Van Jones or whatever has been pretty, like he's had a lot of stuff that's been like, no, he makes sense. Like he's one of us, kind of just confused why he's still a Democrat kind of guy. I like him.
And here's how we got beat. We got beat because the Republicans and the conservatives built a different media system that had to do with online, had to do with podcasts, had to do with streaming platforms, and they were spending their money there. We were laughing at them and knocking on doors in Philadelphia and Detroit. It's like, there's no Trump people. They're not dropping literature. They're not knocking on doors.
In fact, it was laughing like, oh, Elon Musk and Charlie Kirk with their PACs don't know what they're doing.
We were making fun of Donald Trump for having thrown away his ground game and doing some weird stuff online. We thought that they were idiots. It turned out we were the idiots. We woke up in a body bag because while we were knocking on doors, they were making these phones into 24-hour-a-day political weapons for themselves. And so we got outflanked, outplayed, outbeat by people who told us the whole time that they knew what they were doing.
Kinda. We've been showing you. And the reason is this video lives on forever. It's one of the things that's great about it. Especially if you make videos that aren't timely like mine. Mine are stupid in that regard. Like they're good for like 3 to 5 days. Outside of that, and really 1 to 2. It's surprising where the sweet spot is with news. But that said, my other channel, shit, man, I stopped making videos for months and just people kept watching them. That was awesome. I was making dollars. I was dollars, man. Dozens of dollars I made. Huge. Yeah, I put 4 kids through school with those I'm joking. I don't even have kids, first off, but that I know of. Oh, yeah, say that. Anand Gerdhardas. I'm sure I said that perfect. He had a meltdown, I guess. I guess I'm planning a meltdown. But it was kind of the talking about how the enemy is like the opposite of what our friend just said in the other video here, right? That we used social media the way we did. Now it's like we're the radicalized, crazy. It's just funny how they're spinning it. I guess is the point. This is why I'm sharing this. Normally I don't care about the meltdowns, but this kind of illustrates where they're spinning their narrative, how they're trying to rile up their base. They are working them towards, I think, possibly, likely, violence or rioting or protesting peacefully type activities. We'll see. But anyways, here he is.
Particularly the media ecosystem it's not a good one, it's a negative one, it's a radicalization funnel. But what they have done in their online media ecosystem is build a radicalization engine, literally the way militant groups do around the world, that takes people from relatively low-level annoyances with the world. Why are eggs so expensive? Why is my kid learning this new thing in American history in school that I didn't learn? And then moves them through YouTube videos, through podcasts, moves them from that annoyance all the way slowly to a full-blown fascist politics. It's an elaborate multi-billion-dollar infrastructure, and there is nothing like it on the pro-democracy side. We don't have when a man is just lost and lonely and not yet radicalized, we don't have the equivalent of Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson to move that man in a feminist direction. By the way, we should educate men that it's actually really great to live with a strong woman who makes money. It's actually easier. Life is easier.
So many things come out about this guy, but first off, they're spinning it that way, and then I'm like, this guy, right? I don't know. There's something about him. First off, there's a lot of bad things I'm going to say probably here. Should regret most of them. We'll see how that plays out. But doesn't he kind of almost, I don't know if he's Hispanic. I feel like he's kind of in a Hispanic direction. Maybe I'm wrong. His skin's very tan right now. That's all. It's confusing. There was the thought that maybe he's Indian. Don't know. So whatever. Don't know. This guy's, I don't even know his pronouns for that matter, if there are any. But he's got this very weird like version of wherever country he's from. Ben Affleck. Doesn't he kind of have that Ben Affleck jaw? I feel like it does. Anywho. And I thought he just sounded gay. That was the other thing. He just, the way he talked. He just has kind of a sort of gayness about him. But that doesn't make him right or wrong. But needless to say, they're making us all the violent criminals, of course. Donald Trump posted, so my good friend Alpha posted this. I don't know if he knew it was fresh or not fresh, but I don't think it matters because I still think it's appropriate to hear. Donald Trump told us exactly what he was going to do when he takes office. Now, there's this theory where people running around right now thinking that he just posted this recently. He apparently didn't. He posted this video back in 2023 on the 21st of March, which is interesting for a lot of you guys that are maybe Q posts. I'm sure that one had a couple TikToks there. You guys might want to hit that one up, right? 2023, March 21st. 321 is kind of interesting numbers too. 3-3, right? So anyway, 5 and 7. So anyway, interesting stuff all around all of that. So that said, I want you to see the video though, because the video itself is still awesome nonetheless. Check this out.
Here's my plan to dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption once and for all. And corruption it is. First, I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively. Second, we will clean out all of the corrupt actors in our national security and intelligence apparatus, and there are plenty of them. The departments and agencies that have been weaponized will be completely overhauled so that faceless bureaucrats will never again be able to target and persecute conservatives, Christians, or the left's political enemies, which they're doing now at a level that nobody can believe even possible. Third, we will totally reform FISA courts, which are so corrupt that the judges seemingly do not care when they are lied to in warrant applications. So many judges have seen so many applications that they know were wrong, or at least they must have known. They do nothing about it. They're lied to. Fourth, to expose the hoaxes and abuses of power that have been tearing our country apart, we will establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to declassify and publish all documents on deep state spying, censorship, and corruption, and there are plenty of them. Fifth, we will launch a major crackdown on government leakers who collude with the fake news to deliberately weave false narratives and to subvert our government and our democracy. When possible, we will press criminal charges. Sixth, we will make every Inspector General's office independent and physically separated from the departments they oversee so they do not become the protectors of the deep state. Seventh, I will ask Congress to establish an independent auditing system to continually monitor our intelligence agencies to ensure they are not spying on our citizens or running disinformation campaigns against the American people, or that they are not spying on someone's campaign like they spied on my campaign. Eighth, we will continue the effort launched by the Trump administration to move parts of the sprawling federal bureaucracy to new locations outside the Washington swamp. Just as I moved the Bureau of Land Management to Colorado, as many as 100,000 government positions could be moved out, and I mean immediately, of Washington to places filled with patriots who love America, and they really do love America. Ninth, I will work to ban federal bureaucrats from taking jobs at the companies they deal with and that they regulate. So they deal with these companies and they regulate these companies, and then they want to take jobs from these companies. Doesn't work that way. Such a public display cannot go on, and it's taking place all the time, like with Big Pharma. Finally, I will push a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. This is how I will shatter the deep state and restore government that is controlled by the people and for the people. Thank you very much.
So, I mean, what it seems like is either A, the Trump people recycled this, very possible, good stuff, or B, somebody else recycled this, added the Trump 2024 tagline at the end of it, which is technically kind of illegal, but I don't think anyone's going to say anything that's benefiting. Whatever the case is, this video originally came out back in 2023, March to be specific. So, kind of interesting. Just, again, my good friend Alpha Warrior, like the guy, love the guy.
Here's my plan to dismantle the...
Stop it. But he's, he was the one that shared that story, so good stuff. He had over 120,000 views. He doesn't need me talking about him. He's far more famous than I, for sure. Everybody knows Alpha. ABC News, of course, we can't trust. 3 charged in Iran-linked plot to assassinate Donald Trump. So, again, we've got the Iran story going on. Trying to keep that assassination concept thrown around. There's a bunch of people bringing it up. I shouldn't have, but I kind of wanted a quick call out on the big picture. Yeah, you know. Donald Trump's kind of going to war, and I'm sort of personal with this one, of course. But Governor Gavin Sim, our bastard guy here in California, he's is trying to kill our nation's beautiful California. For the first time ever, more people are leaving than are coming in. He is using the term Trump-proof as a way of stopping all of the great things that can be done making California great again. But I just overwhelmingly won the election. People are being forced to leave due to his and others' insane policy decisions, like the ridiculously rerouting of millions of gallons of water a day from the north out into the Pacific Ocean rather than using it free of charge for the towns, cities, and farms dotted all throughout California. They are making it impossible to build a reasonably priced car. The unchecked and unbalanced homeless catastrophe and the cost of everything, in particular groceries, is out of control. Also, as an agent for the United States of America on voting and elections, I will be demanding that voter ID and proof of citizenship are necessary part and component of the voting process. California is trying to pass laws to say that's not true or not possible. It'll be new on their side. It might not actually make it through the courts here, like it might be taken down in the higher courts. It sometimes can be. We've got a couple good people up there, but we'll see. We'll see how this all plays out. We've got, again, war is continuing, folks. I just want people to understand this is not a place to just, everything's, no, man, far from it. We made a huge first step. Again, I want you to take a rest, but I'm going to remind you that you're going to need to get off that break soon. That's all I'm saying. San Francisco deputy sheriffs, again, sheriffs account to the people. Keep this in mind. But San Francisco sheriffs, the hope of getting reelected would be in his future, something he'd think about. And here's his statement, even in light of that. If any politician attempts to defund us or cripple law enforcement again, we will initiate, start to finish, a recall process of that politician. So California is finally starting to get serious. Finally. Maybe. I'm hoping. We'll see. Laura Trump posted this. For anyone wondering, none of our election interference staff in any state has been released. The GOP worked closely with the NRCC all cycle to build our historic election integrity program, and we're still working with them to make sure that real Donald Trump has a majority to work with in the House. Our teams are still on the ground in California, Arizona, and Ohio, working with campaigns and state parties to see these races through until the end. We're still watching. This is where we had to shine the lights on them. That was so specifically why I did the live show I did. For those of you that were a part, and thank God that you were. There's quite a few of us. The right number. I didn't want to show up too much on the radar, but it worked. I think worked out perfectly. So as of right this second, 11:19 a.m. Pacific time, 295 electoral votes to Donald Trump, 226 to Kamala Harris. Alaska finally kicked, that's for sure. But 295. I mean, he only needed 270 to win. He's well beyond that, but we need it well over 300 for sure. Now, we've got some very interesting things going on with Senate races that I wanted to chit-chat about. First and foremost, AP race call. This is legit when they call it. Republican Dave McCormick wins the election of the U.S. Senate from Pennsylvania, beating incumbent Bob Casey. Republican David McCormick won the Senate. We picked up a Senate seat there in Pennsylvania. I have to click more. New drop. This is from Cary Lake. This is good. So Cary Lake is like destroying in all of the outlier regions. Okay, so her numbers are phenomenal. And then Maricopa County. And Maricopa County, or MC as it's always called, is, well, they're in a weird situation. I think they kind of had something going. I'm just going to speculate here. I'm going to make up stuff. This is probably not true. I'm just going to say this is probably not true. Okay? But I think they've manufactured some votes because they had to kind of match Cary Lake. They couldn't let Cary Lake win. Again, watch the water. I've kind of settled on Cary a while back. I'm like, I actually think she's probably the water. This makes the most sense. And here, she's a honeypot for this. She's definitely got the votes. I bet even in Maricopa County. And so some things seem to be happening. And I think the numbers that we're reaching are now starting to become impossible, or let's maybe even speculate past impossible a while ago. Maricopa County just dropped over 70,000 votes, and Cary Lake won 57% of them. She is now only down 43,000 votes. In order to have a chance to win, Cary needs the outstanding votes in Maricopa to break 51-49 in her favor, so this is a very strong drop. Maricopa has over 500,000 votes outstanding, and Arizona has 850,000 votes outstanding nationwide, or statewide, sorry. Cary Lake is still very much in this. They're suckering them into it. Now, here's where it gets fun. This is where it gets, I think, fun. I'll make it a little bigger here. So, Senate, right now, for Trump in the state, there's a 1.385 million people that voted Donald Trump. There's 1.229 that voted Kamala Harris. This is how the ticket voted as far as the president is concerned. In the Senate, we've got Ruben Gallego, or Gallego probably, at 1.300 million, just shy of Donald Trump's numbers, well over Kamala Harris. And they put Cary Lake down in the vicinity of Kamala Harris's numbers. This definitely looks a little strange because a lot of people would typically vote all one ticket. Many could argue, well, Arizona's different, Dan. I don't think so. I think we actually made a huge play in Maricopa County as well. I think Maricopa County has been one of the key places that we've seen all sorts of shenanigans. Bill Gates and that Ricker guy are two that come to mind, which talked about them yesterday. Surprising I remember your stupid-ass names. That's how messed up you are. And, well, Gates is because he happens to be the same name as another douchehole. That's just like, how perfect is that? I would be ashamed to be a Gates, like one of the good Gates, if there are any out there. I'm assuming, I'm hoping. So 2024 Senate race results as of right now, as of recording. 53 confirmed Senate seats. 45 Democrats, 53 yes. That means there's still, I believe, is it 2? 98. We're at 98, right? So there's 2 that are open. 2 that are open. A lot of white states. I feel like this maybe hasn't been updated or something, but there are 2 open confirmed states at this point. Again, we got this no matter what. How much do we got this? We'll see. Cary Lake's going to be a key part of that for sure. Republicans knocked off, now we're getting to the House stuff. Republicans knocked off Democrats in 2 perennially contested U.S. House seats in eastern Pennsylvania, while U.S. Rep. Scott Perry, one of the hardest right members of the chamber, survived a challenge in the southern Pennsylvania district with more moderate politics. The defeat of 6th-term Rep. Matt Cartwright of the 3-term Rep. Susan Wild came as GOP's U.S. House majority hung in the balance of Democrats seek a last line of resistance to Donald Trump's 2nd-term White House agenda. Oddly hard to read. The Republican victories all ensure that the GOP has recaptured a majority of the state's congressional delegation, now 10-7, since the party lost its slate in 2018. Republican Rob Bresnahan, a first-time candidate and developer who runs a family construction company, beat Cartwright in a distinct district around Scranton. Oh, nice. And Wilkes-Barre. Meanwhile, Ryan McKenzie, a member of the State House of Representatives, beat Wild in a district around Allentown. So whatever the case is, hardcore going on in the Pennsylvania, and it looks like we took a whole bunch of Pennsylvania. So as of this moment, 211 Republicans, 199 Democrats. Now, I did go digging into a lot of these counties, and I'll tell you what, here's the thing I found. I found like a solid 10 that are well above. I'm not even close. Not like they're under a little teeny bit and I'm counting them. No, they were all like above and well above. Eastern Washington, I think, was one of them. There's both Republicans that are one or the other is going to win, which hopefully is in our favor. But yeah, like I checked the ones. A bunch of these in California are actually going to go Republican out here, and even this little guy, I believe. So all said, I found about 10. It puts us, I'm roughly 220, 221, pretty solid. Again, we got to wait until everyone finishes cheating as much as they can. Did I say that out loud? I said the word cheating, and it made me start coughing. That's probably a bad omen, but right? But maybe I should cut back on my language, dial it back. But that said, maybe we have closer to a legitimate election than we've ever had before. I still think there's a lot of voter registration systems that were allowing people on their registration, like the RICO? Not RICO. What's the name of that system? The one that everybody was the registrations for voting. There's a lot of dead people. There's a lot of people that are not citizens. So we've got a STAR, I think it was. They got to get rid of that system or make sure we can remove people from the ballot that are from the rolls that don't belong there. Donald Trump, truth this out. There are fake, untrue, and probably illegal rumors and or statements made by, perhaps, market manipulators or short sellers that I am interested in selling shares of truth. Those rumors or statements are false. I have no intention of selling. I hereby request that the people who have set off these fake rumors or statements and who may have done so in the past be immediately investigated by the appropriate authorities. Truth is an important part of our historic win, and I deeply believe in it. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. He is the president, essentially, now. We'll see what happens to these bad people. Here's one of them, I think. Powell, our wonderful Fed guy, who's a douchehole, gets asked a pretty hardcore question and then a follow-up, and his answers are not surprising, but telling.
Hi, Victoria Guido with Politico. Some of the president-elect's advisors have suggested that you should resign. If he asked you to leave, would you go?
No.
Can you follow up on, do you think that legally you're not required to leave?
No.
pretty solid answers there. He didn't get a little wishy-washy with his answer. I felt he lost me in his long metaphors and the odd, weird usage of colors. It was strange, I thought, how he did that. But yeah, I felt he was pretty direct. Pretty direct. Hopefully you guys caught the attempt at humor there. If not, there's probably no hope for any of us in that case. Guys, you got to get out of their system. The feds, no. So, yeah, this is interesting. They already lowered the rate. I, again, have an expectation of that happening at least once more as a means of really jamming it into Trump. So we'll see how this all continues to play out. Staying in their system, staying in cash right now depends how much you need. You got to really balance things out. But if you've got some extra cash, I would seriously consider buying some precious metals while they're coming down a teeny bit at the moment, because everyone's so confident in the system. Get out while you can, because the whole people that still think everything's great and groovy are the ones, unfortunately, that are going to be harmed by this. Those of you that figure it out, you'll get out. You'll get out before it is bad, and you'll actually protect yourself. Precious metals is one of the best protections through inflation and market collapses ever. Countries buy in on it. Currencies are backed by it. It's not something you buy when stock markets are awesome and a great place to be. No, and this is where we'll probably likely leave at some point. Or the new currency will be backed by this. Again, where we go, don't know. Where we're kind of falling from, we do. Get your stuff out of their system. If you got a 401k or an IRA, up to 10% of that could be free silver. So up to 10% of what that number is, 100,000, that's 10 grand of free silver just for doing this. So they're trying to make it a sweet deal. And right now, prices of silver are sort of under multiplied, they say. We'll see. There's a lot of factors to take into. One thing we know for sure is gold and silver have done amazing this year and are continuing on their rather steep upward trajectory. You don't want to wait a lot longer because it's just going to get harder and harder to get in. And stocks, who knows? A lot of strange things are happening. We got China making some weird moves right now. This is not a good time to just think, oh, Trump's going to get into office, everything's cool. Folks, the deep state's about to get destroyed. That's what's about to happen. They're freaking out. How they handle this, how this plays out, we don't know. Don't know the timings. Get out. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of their system. DRSlikesgold.com. My great friends at Goldco can help you get through this quickly. Best customer service ever. They've got some of the just most insane people. I'm a customer too. I love them. Love them. Proud to be affiliated with them. Go to my good friends at Goldco. Proud partner as well. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. If you have a qualifying 401k or IRA, by the way, you're going to get a free half-ounce Ronald Reagan coin. That's like $16 right there. Again, just thanks. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. You got $5,000 in there? I don't know. It's up to you, but it's a good idea. You got $100,000 in there? It's definitely a good idea. You got $1 million in there? I still think it's a good idea because you're hedging your bet for what's going on right now. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Want to help as many of you as I can because the shizzle is getting close to getting extra real. We'll see. All right, some weird stuff on this. Police frequency, some post. I guess a lot of people are getting texts. I don't know. I didn't, thank God. And there's probably people from certain lists that were probably part of the political stuff, whatever the case is, don't know where they came from again. But you have been selected to be enslaved at your nearest plantation. So there's this text message that's gone out telling people they're going to be slaves. And then it says it's Trump that's sending this. It's reasonably funny, in all honesty. But obviously, I mean, if you receive this and you're already a little emotionally stirred, this would probably fire you up. So I'm wondering if these are some of the, let's call them activists, that are more easily nudged into action. Or put it straight, blunt, I think a bunch of people just got activated. We'll see how this plays out. But this is very interesting, and this would be a very specific way that would happen. There would be key phrases oftentimes baked into one of these messages, and they wouldn't be the same for everybody because then it'd be easy to tell. The easiest way, you can easily program somebody with some very specific things, sound effects, like just even you could have a noise pop up on the actual text message. A lot of things. So on a report by Breitbart. Apparently, human intelligence has been developed. I don't know if I believe this. That's revealing the possibility of a formal covert operation being conducted by the Maduro regime. So apparently, there are people from prison and intelligence from within Venezuela that are now coming across the border. Again, it seems a little really, because it's weird as they're just kind of neutralizing Americans. Just random. There's no why. I mean, Venezuela's not a huge country, and I'm sorry, there can't be more than, a dozen teams, maybe? What's that noise? Just kidding. Right? But there's probably a dozen teams. I don't know, 20 teams. How many teams do you think can they really field from there? And so what are they going to do? We're going to cut down your flagpole. I don't even know. I don't even know what the hell. So this neutralizing, again, there's MS-13. There's some serious gang people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's people that aren't capable of ferocious things, but I also realize that Breitbart specifically likes to kind of kick things into a weird freak out kind of way, So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't trust what they're telling us. I lump this into the category of because of us for a reason. We, not just Americans, we people that have woken up have made a difference in all sorts of different countries. Now, frankly, Canadians, I think, because you punch moose. I just think that makes a difference. That scares anybody. I'm sure Justin, even him, even though he's, quote, a Canadian, he's not a moose puncher. Let's just be honest. He's not. You know it. I know it. So, my Canadian friends are a little unique. They play hockey. They're very tough. I don't know what's going on. And then they got syrup on everything. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on over there. It's hard to say. But they have Canadian whiskey, which is delicious. Canadian government on Wednesday directed the video app TikTok, which is owned by the Chinese tech giant. I don't know if you guys have heard. They said you guys got to close your offices because of national security. Trump just got elected. And TikTok their offices just got closed down in Canada because China steals information from any office that exists within the country they're at. Anything they have access to, China gets access to. They may say, no, we don't do that. Of course they say that. They do that. They take that info. Many people are like, I've got nothing to hide. Yeah, you don't realize how many things you should try to hide, but you have lots to be concerned about. Lots. Especially if you think about any pharmaceutic stuff. It's one of my favorite things. Amazon keeps sending stuff from me. I'm not trying to slam Amazon. I use the crap out of them. Pretty sure I'm on the winning side of their shipping for Prime. But they're trying to push people getting their pharmaceuticals through them. If you got any sort of hair loss, which, a lot of us dudes do, right? Thinning for sure. I'm working on it, but other stuff, right? Got your special pills of all kinds. And they want you to go through them. That's not necessarily HIPAA enforced now. Doctors sign those agreements. Amazon doesn't necessarily. So this data ends up in the hands of people you definitely don't want it getting out to for a lot of reasons. There might be, again, stuff that's not necessarily the same pharmaceutics that aren't as clean. Maybe who knows? And again, I'm not a big pharmaceutics guy. I don't like them. I will say those Cialises are pretty awesome. Just saying. Yeah. Every once in a while, when the time is right, you hear the birdies chirping in the background. You're like, that is a good idea. Bam. So anyway, whatever. Can't hate. I can't. I don't have a bionic implant, at least. Thank God. That'd be bad, right? They had a pump. I think there was a pump at one point you could get. We used to make fun of it because he had the Reebok pump. Do you guys remember that? Somebody blew a few of those up in videos. It was pretty damn funny. Long stories. Whatever. We've got SmackDown going on. Oh, Lati James. So this guy comes in hard on Lati James. He even talks about her fat ass, which I think when he said it, he was obviously saying it with a PH. So don't be offended, anybody. Obviously, that's what he meant by fat ass. Is fat. But she she's in a tough place right now. And if she thinks she's going to be able to continue down the path that she's going, again, we've shown the red wave. There's an overwhelming number of people within this country that support the direction we're about to go. And the people that don't are going to run to the streets and try to burn things. That's fine. We'll round you up. Don't worry about it. You guys are making it easy. You're the ones committing crime. We don't got to worry about it. It's easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So Latits, they're calling her out. We'll see what she thinks, what she does.
Let me just say this to Big Tish James, the New York Attorney General. I dare you to try to continue your lawfare against President Trump in his second term, because listen here, sweetheart, we're not messing around this time, and we will put your fat ass in prison for conspiracy against rights, and I promise you that. So think long and hard before you want to violate President Trump's constitutional rights or any other American's constitutional rights. It's not going to happen again.
We've been warning people on the show, Mike, this isn't the same Trump administration. Stop messing around. Don't rig elections. Don't illegally vote. Don't try the funny business, because we know the team this time and they are not effing around.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if MAGA Kitty's right, but she put down here, put your fat ass in prison. I think it was PHAT. I think that was a fat. I think her fat ass is, I think it's fat, like, you know. And for those of you that don't get what I'm doing, because I want to point it out, because I feel like there's a bunch of you that'll be like, why did you say it so many times? Because I just wanted to say it a bunch of times. And PHATing it and talking about the FAT of it is a reason to say it extra times. Excuse. Talk about her fat ass. I normally do. I feel like that's kind of rude. So I felt like this was an easy way to take some more jabs at her, which, again, now I'm punching a woman. I know. Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer. Latits has been that's usually the worst thing I call her. But it felt good. It felt good. I don't know why. So, yeah, fat, PHAT. That's what I mean. Latits. I wouldn't be disrespectful like that. No, of course not. JD Vance. I can't wait to clean up D.C. by releasing the Epstein client list. They say he said this. Supposedly he said this. I hope he said this. No, he says this. Let's listen to it.
Everybody in politics has a vice that's much worse than alcoholism, is the way that I put it. But we
release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
I love it. Right? Like, I don't think he's actually saying he's going to do that. That's not what he said. We, capital W, we need to release this. By the way, it reminds me, my very good friend who's generally been kind of on the Democratic side of things. He voted for Biden in the last election. We haven't dare approached it in this election. Now I work with the guy. He's one of my, I love him. He's my best, he's my best work friend. I'll put it that way. I adore the dude though. But we're talking about the number 23. There's, I guess, a Jim Carrey movie. I now ordered it. I have been told that it's something in the number 23 or whatever. But it gets into that. The giant W just made me think of it. This whole mountain of cards, house of cards, is coming down. And how this plays out is the thing. Like, that's where it's like, get a hard hat. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Wherever you're at, whatever area you're in, you should sort of adjust. Like, the idea that if you're like, 100 miles away from anybody close to, like, resembling somebody that could attack you or whatever, I don't know, like, because there's people that are worried about Israel happening in their neighborhoods, and it's like, why, right? Like, there's certain places that would make sense. If you're not in a Jewish community, like, it almost doesn't make sense. So again, there's a lot of things to consider. So just protect your neighbors, protect your home, protect your family, do as best you can. Just be mindful of all the crazy that they're trying to push out right now. What's good, what's bad. I mean, again, we're just trying to stay on your toes. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of analogies that seem to fit. We're not through the woods at all. New York City is ending a program that provided prepaid debit cards to migrant families living in the sanctuary city. They're done. Can't afford it, first off. Second off, well, Trump's in office. Probably coincidence. I'm sure it's coincidence. Coincidence for sure. Thomas Massie posted this. So the FBI, they're sharing this message that's going around right now, the FBI statement of offensive and racist text messages. They say the FBI is aware of the offensive and racist text messages sent to individuals around the country and is in contact with the Justice Department and other federal authorities on the matter. As always, we encourage members of the public to report threats of physical violence to local law enforcement and authorities. So the story is that somebody's claiming to be FBI, making threats and text messages, and they're racist, I guess, also, by the way. I forget to say that. And Thomas Massie shares this and says, yeah, it's probably y'all sending them. Pack your bags. Damn straight. We don't believe your shit. But again, don't get soft on your feet, guys. Stay on the balls of your feet. United States versus Trump. J6 election interference case in D.C. And there it is, says, what's this dude's name again? Just Human. And there it is. Special Counsel Smith asked Judge Chutkan to vacate the deadlines in the case since the defendant has been elected president. There you go. Special Counsel Jack Smith is winding down these cases that will never go anywhere. Does that feel bad for them? For them. For us, it feels pretty delicious at the moment. President Trump told NBC News on Thursday that one of his first priorities upon taking office will be, well, let's let them tell us.
Kristen Welker, moderator of Meet the Press, just spoke to him on the phone right now. What did he have to say, Kristen?
Well, Chris, this was a short conversation. It lasted about 15 minutes. It's clear the president-elect feeling quite bullish in the wake of that decisive victory on Tuesday night. In terms of the big headline here, we talked about what he believes is his mandate. Here's how he described it. He said, quote, it's a mandate to bring common sense back to the country. So I said, OK, so what are you going to do first? He identified making the border safe and secure as his first priority. I then pressed him on what he's long talked about, his mass deportation plan. I said, how are you going to pay for it? He said, it's not a question of a price tag. It's not really. We have no choice. When people have killed and murdered, when drug lords have destroyed countries, and now they're going to go back to those countries because they're not staying here, there is no price tag. That really gives you a sense, I think, Chris, of how he is feeling emboldened in the wake of his big win. We also talked about those phone calls that he had with President Biden, with Vice President Harris. He said they were both very nice phone calls, both ways. He said he did say that Vice President Harris talked about the importance of having a peaceful transition of power. Trump saying he agreed with that wholeheartedly. Of course, that comes 4 years after January 6th, in which we did see violence at the nation's capital. But again, Trump stressing that in that call, the vice president made a point of saying that she wants to see a peaceful transfer of power. I pressed him on what world leaders he's spoken to. He said he believes he's spoken to about 70. He says the calls keep coming in. He said ultimately he's going
Kristen?
to. That's what he said. He said ultimately he's going to release a list of how many world leaders he has spoken to so far. He said he has spoken to President Zelensky. He's spoken to Prime Minister Netanyahu. I asked if he's spoken to President Putin of Russia. He said he has not spoken to President Putin, but anticipates that the leaders will speak. Of course, he has spoken a lot about wanting to end the war there within 24 hours.
One of the big conversations people have been having is what a Biden administration would look like. Did you have time to ask him about that? Any of the people? There's a lot of speculation about that, even some people who have taken themselves out of contention for potential roles in a new administration. But did you have a chance to ask him about that?
Great question, Chris. I did. I have to caveat this by saying that the conversation ended as I was just getting going with that line of questioning. He did, when I asked him about his chief of staff, he said, well, name some people. I said, well, what about Susie Wiles? We're hearing a lot of buzz about Susie Wiles. He had a lot of praise for Susie Wiles, saying that he likes her very much, that she would be someone he would consider to be a strong choice. I then asked him about our reporting that Senator Tom Cotton has taken his name out of contention for potentially joining the administration. He had a lot of praise for Tom Cotton as well. He said, I think he's fantastic. At that point, Chris, our conversation wound down, but it is clear he's just starting to think about some of those decisions.
I know you said it was a brief conversation, but if he's already spoken to 70 leaders, I think 15 minutes is probably more than he's spent with some world leaders. So good on you, my friend.
Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate it.
It would have taken a lot for me not to ask. Have you talked to Waldo? everyone can find him, and if you can talk to him, that's a step in the right direction. I totally wouldn't say that, but it would have been funny. To me, we have a lot of unity that's coming together right now, and a lot of people that are starting to see the bigger picture. But again, it's going to play out how it plays out. Trump is announcing that Susan Summerall Wiles as chief of staff. So she's going to be the chief of staff. She is the one that ran his campaign this time around, and he's stoked with her. She obviously held through the security and secrecy. They've been doing this for a long time. She's proven herself, is where I'm at with it. I would imagine she's even unbribable. So, yeah, Susie Wiles is, going to be in his inner circle, and he's starting to announce some of those key positions, which is good stuff. We'll like that. Claudia Schiffer Pardo. She is the Mexican the leader of Mexico right now. And she said she had a very cordial call with President-elect Donald Trump in which we talked about the good relationship that there will be between Mexico and the United States. Now, a lot of people are saying that they haven't talked or that she shunned him. That's not true. But, very good stuff. I would say it in Spanish, and a bunch of you would understand it, but that's only because it's written there, and I can read Spanish. I don't speak it fluently. I sound like a retard when I talk Spanish, but I get there, sort of. Argentina's Milei is going to meet with Trump, Musk, next week. Trump, Musk. Musk is very involved. Interesting what's going on right now. So, yeah, a lot is happening. Musk is going to be a very central figure in this administration. And frankly, I kind of think it makes sense. It seems a little weird, but at the same time, kind of makes sense, especially considering some of the rumors I've heard about where we're going as a world, a multipolar world. Keep that in mind. And I, believe it or not, actually think that's part of why China has been granted the opportunity to steal as much information as they have. We'll get there. Seems to. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Good timing. That was accidental. China unveils $36 million new stealth jet fighter. It's built with stolen American technology. Yep. You might notice it looks remarkably similar to, well, what I would call an F-22. They're calling it a J-35, which is funny. It gives it that feeling of the F-35, but it isn't the F-35 in any way, shape, or form. This is much more akin to the F-22. They are saying this was built with stolen data. Do you think that's possible? Now, here's the thing. There's some stuff they don't understand, I think, about technology and the evolutions of generations. And even I think some people kind of gripe because there's some of the definition changes or generation changes, I should say, that we understand, that makes sense. Like when we go through the first 5 generations of aircraft, the 6th just seems like it's more stealthy, but it's probably more than that. Like, so one of the things we're hearing about the newest form of 6th generation is actual additional bot aircraft that are unmanned, that are essentially tuned or, like when you dial in like your earbuds or whatever the heck, like basically that to the craft. They're drawing a blank on the, right? When you pair it, they're paired to the craft. Literally, you would pair them to the craft. And you think about that and you're like, that kind of actually makes sense. You'd pair autonomous aircraft to the craft so they could be used to carry additional weapons, to be even kamikaze if they had to. They wouldn't want to if they're true AI, but whatever, like to help out in any way they could. They could be a defense shield. They'd be a whole separate thing. So there's more to it, the generational stuff, I think, usually. Cell phone of Trump-led defense attorney compromised by Chinese hackers, supposedly. This is if I want to say the guy's name, Blanche? I don't know. I should know because I've heard it said, but I can't remember how I can't remember. I want to say it wrong. I'm sure that's the problem. All right, so Blanche. I'm just say that, whatever. Determined that Blanche's communications with the family and friends were compromised. China's behind this. Again, do I think it's China per se? No, it's the deep state for sure. The CCP, yes, for sure. It's the wrong people. It's the ones that we're really concerned about. It's the ones that want to unite Taiwan, and I don't know if they're going to... maybe Taiwan doesn't have to happen, because they always said we'd save Israel for last. So the fact that Taiwan didn't happen is maybe that it doesn't need to, but we do have information to suggest that China's about ready to do some crazy shit, so probably not likely. Just hopium, I guess, maybe. But yeah, they're hacking people close to Trump still. Xi Jinping, I think that's whatever, warns Trump U.S. would lose from confrontation with China's renewed trade war looms. Now, in the trade war, I think we'll win, but an actual war with China, and we would probably totally lose. Mainly one, China hasn't really had to use a bunch of their weapons. They haven't been giving them to countries right now. Our stockpiles are hugely diminished, hugely. So we would be annihilated in a war with China anyway, from the standpoint of long-range weapons. Now, we'd probably nuke them and get nukes through, so we'd end up destroying the planet, so most of us would die. So, I don't know, maybe we won. Hard to say. There'd be people in bunkers living, We wouldn't be, but yeah. So that's probably not going to happen anyways, but here's the big thing. This is what they are talking. This is the fear they want to spark. Something's about to happen with China. That's how they work. They kind of puff out their chest a little bit when when they're about to go big. So China has increased military flights near Taiwan by 300%, is what we're being told by NBC News. General Kevin Schneider has warned that the Chinese activities have increased dramatically. Now, you got to wonder what's going to happen now that Trump's in charge. I don't think want to wait until Trump's in office, but we're going to see. Elon Musk has joined Trump's call with Zelensky. So Musk is showing up on a lot of stuff. This goes back to me, in my opinion, to the multipolar world. I think Elon Musk has the technology that we're using both militarily and commercially to get humanity off the deep state's system. I mean, it might be as simple as the Starlink system, maybe tied in with some BRICS actions, but Musk is directly involved with these discussions. That is just huge. And again, I believe we can trust both these guys. I believe. I mean, as two billionaires, they could become extreme billionaires. Maybe. I mean, I know that scares some people. I don't know. Neither one of them have really seemed like they've acted that way, though. So I don't know. That just doesn't, at the moment, doesn't seem like it. Bezos seems like someone that's a coward because he's afraid of what's going to come out about him, because he honestly has probably been to Epstein Island. It's probably what the truth is. Like, I think Bezos wants to be a good guy, but he messed up. So there might be penance. I don't know how that works. But he seems to be doing some very interesting things, congratulating Trump and all this nonsense. So I don't know. The world's in a weird place right now. Pentagon says it cannot confirm whether North Korean troops are gorging themselves on porn. I had to share this because I thought it was very funny. I mean, if you think about it, North Koreans being just repressed in so many ways. Like, I guess if you showed them porn, I don't know, I'm not sure what they're into, like, I don't know, muskrat on pig or something. I don't know what kind of porn. I'm just kidding. That's so mean. Like, anyone that's North Korean, like, they probably just want to be loved and hugged and not, like, punched or anything or starved or whatever. But yeah, it's just, I shouldn't make fun. I don't know. I can't. Yeah, I feel borderline bad now, but whatever. Soros Fund Management founded by billionaire George Soros. They plan to shut its Hong Kong office. It's an administrative reorganization. They're getting out of the Hong Kong office. Deep State lost. Soros is done. These guys are destroyed. Yuval Harari. Meth cooker chick, what's her face? I'm drawing a blank on her name, right? The girl that does the spirit cooking. She's still out there, but they don't have the power they had. It's a weird new world, folks. A weird new world. That's all I can say. It's a beautiful thing. Whoops. Wellness company, guys, just keep in mind, I'll hopefully do quick on this. TWC, the wellness company. TWC.health/OTF. TWC.health/OTF. They've got awesome supplement line. The spike support formula gets rid of any of those spikes floating around inside you or the ones that have been shot out by friends of yours that rolled up their sleeve. Keep in mind, spike support formula literally bonds to that spot, that cleavage site. It is meant to pull it out of your system. That's what it does. It's designed to do that. It's very good at it. Spike support formula. Go to twc.health/OTF. Click on the supplements, spike support formula. The kits are huge. There's a bunch. There's the med kit. It's awesome. It's got all sorts like amoxicillin and all sorts of good stuff for antibacterials. Very good stuff. You should look at all the med kits because when you think about trying to keep yourself safe, what if we get cut off for, I don't know, 10 days? What if China no longer makes, because they make most of the pharmaceutical stuff, by the way, like most of the key ingredients. Like what happens if that stops for 6 months, 5 months, 3 months, 2 months? Even when Trump comes into office, that can happen for a period of time as we shuffle into this new thing. And there might be some pain points that happened with Reagan when he made changes from what Carter and all them were doing. They stopped a major thing, and then it hurt. And we had to pay some price, but then we ultimately won through it. This is probably part of how this is going to play out as well. So a lot of things going on. The contagion kit, that's the one that's got like ivermectin and stuff like that. These are all done through a prescription. This is all done with doctors behind this. Dr. Drew Pinsky, Dr. McCullough, and another distinguished gentleman. But they have a number of wonderful kits. There's a travel kit even, fits in the car. Maybe you want to give that to one of your kids or yourself or your wife for sure. First aid kits and everything else. That's got bandages and all sorts of good stuff. They've got amazing kits. They're put together. It's like all the stuff you'd be like, damn, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I know. And you click on it. All you got to do is click on the tab, and it'll show you all the ingredients, all the cool stuff in there. I'm telling you. You'll be like, damn, need one of these. Go to twc.health/OTF. twc.health/OTF. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your loved ones. Your dogs. I don't think they have dog kits. That'd be cool, though. If they get them, they can work out with my good friends at the Pet Club 247. That'd be great. Get those two together. Make like the perfect sponsor. Or we're really affiliate. It's the best word to use. We just won our lawsuit with Kim Paxton and Raul Labrador and a coalition of 14 states. They've officially stopped the Biden-Harris administration's illegal attempt to grant mass amnesty to hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens. They were stopped. Yes. Well done, America First Legal. Well done. House Republicans, warned Jack Smith to preserve his records in the Trump cases. We want to see who and what was talking to you. This might be very interesting. Now, the rumor on the street is that Joe Biden's not going to commute his son, but I don't know. None of us believe that, and it was coming from Jean-Pierre, so we obviously don't believe it. Karine Jean-Pierre, I guess. Whatever. We don't believe a damn thing she says. And many would say, why, Dan? Because she constantly lies. She's one of the most professional liars on the planet. She's so good at it, too. Israeli troops. They find Hezbollah's base near a UN outpost. From the pictures, it looks like they blowed some stuff up, which they might have done. There was an airstrike, it seems, in, Dahaye, Beirut, Lebanon. So that happened Thursday, November 7th, 2024. About a big boom that seemed to have happened. So things are, again, we had a story yesterday, and I haven't seen any confirmation from it, so I kind of want to call it out right now, too, like that all the people were protesting and they were going after Netanyahu. I have not seen anything else come from that. So there's a lot of weird info being pushed by very specific anti-Israel people that are definitely not sharing real information. So again, we're going to try to learn how these and who these people are. But all said, it doesn't seem like there was truth to that. This seems like Israel's still hammering, I'm hoping and I'm assuming, the deep state. I think these are deep state targets. I think these are parts of the world where these groups have put buildings and I think I hope we get a rundown, or I'm curious what we ever get to find out down the road. We'll see how that plays out in the big picture. AstraZeneca's China head, the one, I guess, that spoke specifically to China, he was taken into custody by Chinese authorities. AstraZeneca's head to China. I feel like this was translated weirdly, whatever the case is. It's like we're like the only ones that put like our adjectives in different order, right? But the head of China would be how we would say it, but everyone else in the world would say China's head, or China head. It's crazy. Good times, though. Good times, right? That's why we don't understand each other. Anyway, Wang is his name, right? Because that's, why wouldn't it be? Was arrested. But the news comes just days after it was reported that the pharma's country head was under investigation for alleged medical insurance fraud. I don't know. Are we finally shutting these companies down? Again, this is happening in China. I don't know. Just sharing this stuff. Oh, this number 5. This is so good. It's so good. What we got? We'll go with him last. Jackson, Mississippi Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba and other city officials on Thursday pleaded not guilty to a string of federal corruption charges. The group of indicted officials, which includes Hinds County District Attorney Jody Owens and Ward 6 Councilman Aaron Banks, has been accused of accepting thousands of dollars in bribes in exchange for favors and positive votes, according to USA Today. Another city council member, along with a conspirator, was charged in the case earlier this year and pleaded guilty. The city council member, Angelique Lee, admitted that she accepted nearly $20,000 in cash deposits and other gifts. The conspirator, Sharik Marv Smith, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit bribery. Owens is currently facing the most amount of charges of the group with 8 felony counts. Lumumba is facing 5 charges and Banks is facing 2. The charges range from bribery to racketeering. The indictment detailed that Owens facilitated $80,000 in bribes and Lumumba and Lee in exchange for the official action on the hotel development project. Mainly just wanted to share it because Lumumba's a very cool last name for a bad guy. Alleging. I want him to go through his thing. So, sorry, Lumumba. You are innocent currently until proven guilty, Lumumba, sir. Yes. Forgive me. All right, we got one other story before I get to the number 5 thing. So good. 3 charged in death of former One Direction star Liam Payne. So now 3 have been charged. The dude that fell, but he didn't really, he just kind of fell. I don't know, like the beginning of the Lethal Weapon movie. This chick was high and she fell off. She was naked at least. That was kind of cool. But it was Liam. He wasn't naked, I don't think, and I wouldn't want to see that. But he was on a bunch of drugs. So I'm wondering if the people that sold the drugs, they kind of aren't, the 3 people were not named. So we got 3 people got called out. Okay, what do you know? Nothing. Can't tell you. Sorry. The investigation's going on. Well, fudge. Okay. So anyway, 3 people got arrested. I don't know if it's like the Matthew Perry, where the queen of the K, right? Queen of ketamine, she was taken in, and then the doctor, and then, right? So I don't know. Maybe that's what is happening here is the people that were prescribing these pharmaceuticals are going to jail. We'll see. All said, number 5, this is powerful. I love that RFK is in the loop. I love that he's involved. I love the powerful group of people we have brought together to make this change happen. We have the freaking awesomest team right now, and I can't wait to see some of the other people I'm not even aware of. So again, folks, we're being poisoned. Stay out of the center aisles of the grocery store. They're the most heavily processed. It's almost assuredly bad for you. Here is one example, and we've got more that we're going to learn about through the days, weeks, and months ahead of us.
This is what most Americans innocently put into their bodies these days, and most alarmingly, into the bodies of their children. And it's no coincidence that Americans die earlier than Canadians or Germans or Italians or Japanese or Koreans or Australians or most any other comparable country. And it wasn't always that way. Until the early 1990s, our life expectancy was the same or better than other developed countries. Then suddenly, more and more Americans began suffering from chronic diseases, from obesity, cancer, diabetes, kidney disease, Alzheimer's, heart disease, and all kinds of autoimmune diseases. Our maternal mortality rate soared to the highest of any developed country on earth. Same with infant mortality. Like the frog in the slowly boiling water, we didn't really notice as we got sicker and sicker. We've grown now to accept chronic disease conditions as normal. But now, in 2024, we're finally waking up to this cataclysm, and we're asking ourselves, how in the world did this happen? A big part of it is our diet. Restaurants that serve contaminated food are fined or shut down. But when it's the government that approves the poisons in our food, a few people get very, very rich, and the toxins end up in every supermarket aisle. Let me show you what I mean. Doritos, Cheez-Its, Captain Crunch, gummy bears. Everyone knows that these are junk foods, so maybe you wouldn't be too surprised to see that the ingredients include a lot of poisons, including a harmful yellow dye called tartrazine, or yellow dye number 5. What you may not know is that this dye was originally made out of the sludge that's left over when you turn coal into coke for blast furnaces. It's called coal tar, and I've actually sued many big industries for legacy contamination of coal tar all around the country because it's so toxic and it's so harmful to the environment and human beings. A century ago, it was just an obnoxious industrial byproduct that everybody was trying to figure out ways to get rid of. One of the ways that they did that was by paving roads. But then a British chemist figured out that the coal tar could be used to derive fabric dye. And if fabric dye, why not food? Food manufacturers began using it to cover up the discoloration of low-quality foods that they wanted to pass off on unsuspecting customers. They didn't know back then that this yellow dye, tartrazine, causes tumors, asthma, developmental delays, neurological damage, ADD, ADHD, hormone disruption, gene damage, anxiety, depression, intestinal injuries. Well, we know it now. We've known this for decades. That's why tartrazine is heavily restricted in other countries. In some countries, foods with tartrazine have a warning label that it may cause ADHD in children. Today, it's made from petroleum, not coal tar. Either way, it's crazy to add this to your kids' favorite foods. It doesn't even change the flavor. This yellow dye isn't just in junk food. It's in the foods that we consider healthy. It's in everyday kids' snacks like popcorn, mac and cheese, fruit snacks. It's in sports drinks like Gatorade and so-called vitamin water. It's even added to chicken broth, to corn, to pickles, to mustard, and to yogurt. And so, of course, our kids get sick. And we lovingly feed them chewable vitamins which have, surprise, tartrazine. And so the cycle continues until the coughs and asthma kick in, at which point you go to pick up some cough syrup. And yeah, you guessed it, tartrazine. I've been picking on tartrazine today, but that's just one of at least 100 chemical poisons that our health agencies allow into our children's food. I can make a video just like this to talk about Red 40, BHA, BHD, potassium bromate, chemical after chemical, and on and on and on. If just one of them can cause all of these problems, imagine what they're doing in combination. That's never been studied. If we took all of these chemicals out, our nation would get healthier immediately. We'd have fewer sick days. We'd have better focus. We'd have less anxiety. Our kids would learn more easily. We'd lose weight. We'd have more energy. We'd have fewer tumors and longer lives. It's not all dark. Over the past 16 years, the government has banned 8 chemical additives that cause cancer, genetic damage, asthma, and many of the other self-conditions as tartrazine does. And you know what's interesting? All 8 of those crucial steps forward in our kids' health were taken under President Trump. But the Democrats who claim to be all about health care have stood by watching other countries ban these poisons and make our kids sick, asthmatic, hyperactive, and depressed. They left them on every supermarket shelf in America. They even used your tax money to put them in your kids' school lunch. So their big food and their big ag donors probably gave them all that golden handshake and the big money hug. And their big pharma donors probably called them up and thanked them also, because now they're going to make billions selling Adderall, Prozac, and rescue inhalers. Enough is enough. President Trump and I are going to stop the mass poisoning of American children. Together, we're going to make America healthy again.
I love that we're doing this. I love that people are finally going to wake up to the poisons that we've been input. I mean, the beer I love, as I look over here at my beer, it's got stuff in it I know I shouldn't be having. Like, there's just ingredients in our food that are there solely to make us ill. Not there for any other reason. A lot of the things that we actually enjoy could be less detrimental to our body than they currently are. Just because. And some of it too, like fluoride, I think initially came because it was a byproduct of the nuclear age and also fertilizers. And so we ended up with this large quantity of this product we didn't know what to do with. And they're like, let's tell everybody it's good to put it in the water. And so they did. So it was just, we're poisoning ourselves. We've got a lot of things to wake up from, a lot of things to start to realize and prove to the bigger audience. It takes as long as it takes, but we've got the core group of people. And they always said we would have to be to where we were as a society to have finally the numbers to do what we need to do. And it looks like we probably pulled that off. I love you guys. I'm glad we're doing this together. We're going to keep fighting the fight. We're going to keep pushing forward. Where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.